Today, we're going to talk about these 5 elemental skills that are fundamental to a college level writing class. You may not realize it that you've been practicing them already to some extent with your assignments writing the fables last week. So I'm going to take a few minutes to go over these 5 skills, and I want to let you know this is how you know you're doing your work in this class. Every single week, every single assignment, you will be practicing one of these 5 skills. And by the time you leave this term, I hope that you will have developed significant confidence, understanding, and that you're able to apply these skills not only in your future English classes, but in every single writing task that you have, either in other college classes, but also in your professional life as you're working to think things through. So first of all, that punctuation exercise, the bear and the lion, was an example of an essay shape. An essay shape simply is to say that in college level writing, we're using writing as a structure. And we'll be using structures that generate thoughts that didn't exist when we started. So that's a really good thing to notice about the fables. We started with, hello, said the bear. Hello, said the lion. All of a sudden, the moral of the story is that fable, those 7 little one-sentence paragraphs, have a structure. The topic is put out with the title, Bear and Lion. There's a little exchange. Hello, hello, hello. There's some detail. And then there's this pivot point in this structure. All of a sudden, something happens, and then there's a response. So we have a topic set. We sort of have 3 pieces of the fable so far. Some detailed conversation, an event, some more detailed conversation. And then with this wonderful feat of thinking, we draw a lesson, a learning, or a moral. And we write those last sentence, the moral of the story is, properly called an aphorism. That's a Greek word. It means to pull the meaning out of, to conclude, to think about the learning. So that's a great example of an essay shape. It has 3 parts, has an ending, has a topic that's settled. It's a small essay shape. It's a very easy, a surprisingly easy essay shape. But I think it's a great place to start because every single one of you came up with morals that you didn't have when you sat down to write. So that's a really exciting thing about this class. Essay after essay, we'll start with concrete information. We'll use an essay shape, and then it will lead us to ideas that we didn't really have before we started. Ideas that are new, ideas that are clarifying, and ideas kind of fun. It's kind of fun to find out what the moral is and to state these things. So essay shapes, structured language that generates thought. I just previewed the second element, writing that is concrete and writing that is abstract. Concrete writing is detailed, it's specific. It's something that we can experience with our senses. We can hear, we can see, we can taste, we can smell. College level writers need to be able to get specific, really drill down to things that can be experienced at the sensory level. But college level writers also have to have ideas, and that's the abstract part. The abstract part of your moral, of the fable, is that last sentence. The moral of the story is beware. Make a friend. The moral of the story is surprises can teach us all kinds of things. So abstract idea writing and concrete world writing. Those are like 2 poles of language that college writers move back and forth between. You'll get better and better with this as we go on, but it's one of the most important distinctions of college level writing from all the other stuff that's out there. We have organized details, organized concrete information, and then we have ideas. We write about ideas about that information. Well, a third elemental skill is fluency writing. Writing nonstop, writing as fast as we can, throwing our attention all at once and with no preparation, with no forethought, writing down as fast as we can. Fluency writing is nonstop. It's limited 10 minutes time. It's done often. And it's sometimes free form, sit down and write what's on your mind. Sometimes fluency writing is a great way to sort of rumble through what we know, to have a bunch of starts and stops. And practicing fluency writing builds up both your focus and it builds up your speed. So fluency writing is important to college writers because we need to get efficient with our intellectual work. We need to be dependable about getting started and stopping. So fluency writing, every time you're doing fluency writing, whether you're lots of those or whether you like it or not, every time you're doing fluency writing, you are building writing skill. It's like dribbling on the basketball court or running up and down when you're practicing soccer or practicing your scales. You got to do it for the muscles to grow. Essay shapes, concrete, abstract, fluency writing. You don't know it, but you've already practiced this fourth skill, rewriting. How have you practiced rewriting? Well, you wrote Bear and Lion, one essay shape. Then you wrote another fable, rewriting the essay shape, practicing the shape. And then you wrote a third. So one way of rewriting is do-overs. Starting with one essay, getting a sense of the shape, and doing it again, and doing it again. Every time you rewrite an essay shape, we get a better sense of how it works, what it's good for, how the different parts play out. So we won't just write one version of an essay. We'll write another one and another one and another one. So we really get our feel for how a structure, a specific structure, generates new thinking. That's one kind of rewriting. Another kind of rewriting might be to look at a paragraph and to reorder the specifics that we wrote. Whatever we wrote that came out of our mind first may be fine, but it may be more felicitous, it may be more well expressed, it may be more thoughtful to reorder those details or stick in a couple more specifics. So we rewrite at the level of the paragraph. And we also rewrite at the level of the single sentence. Just because those words came out that way doesn't mean that those words are the best way they can come out. Sometimes there's better words to express the thought. Sometimes we might rearrange, even at the micro level of a sentence. So rewriting happens lots in this class. It's one of the things that distinguishes college level writers from others. We know that rewriting will always serve our thinking. It's my favorite part. I think coming up the first time can be hard, but rewriting is satisfying when you know that you have an idea that you want to share, when you think it's a good idea and it's worth the work. Rewriting can be a very satisfying part of the writing process. So, essay shapes, concrete abstract, fluency writing, rewriting. And then the last of the five elemental skills is writing observations. And writing observations is writing observations about writing. So we haven't done that yet, but that's our work this week. And in the next video mini lecture, we're going to look at some sentences and we're going to start the work of writing observations, of reading something and saying, hey, I noticed that blah, 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 blah. Observations are really good for learning about how our sentences work. Observations are really useful for helping us revise and rewrite and reconceive an essay to take it up to another level. And actually, now that I think of it, another way of thinking, observations are also a great thing to do when we're using college readings. I guess we might say even when you read Edmondson, you were making observations about what stood out, what sentences, what ideas, what new words struck you. So maybe we have done some observations. Sometimes we'll look at a specific sentence and notice. Sometimes we'll look at a paragraph and notice. And sometimes we'll listen to a whole essay or we'll read a whole essay. And after taking in the whole idea, we'll stand back, take a breath, and notice what rises to the top, what catches our attention, what's easy to focus on, what we want to hear more about. Those are all ways to write observations. And maybe the response posts are kind of observations as well, when you're noticing the strong sentences and the strong ideas in each other's discussion board posts. So we'll come back to this again and again. This is really, I think, the real core of a writing workshop, is that it's skills-based. And for us, these 5 skills are really essential. Writing essay shapes, writing with structure, writing concrete details and abstract ideas, fluency writing, rewriting at the different levels, and writing observations. I'll see you next time.